when you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you.
The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
Well, you can't take the Marxist out of the mayor of New York City. I don't know. Is there a better way to put that? I don't know. You know, it's just amazing to me that you have the mayor of New York City, that he comes out, and he's supposed to give a speech on the greatness of America. He's supposed to give a speech on the 250th anniversary and all of that stuff, and he just can't get out of his Marxist way. Everything in that speech was tinged with a Marxist bent. Everything about it was class warfare. Everything about it was rich versus poor. Everything about it had to do with that. And, you know, in the surface, when you listen to the speech on the surface of it, it was fine. But then you start to go through it, and more it comes down. It's like, oh, I see what's going on here. And you kind of compare that, and a lot of people are comparing that to Trump's speech. I'm not saying Trump's speech was perfect either, but you can kind of see the difference of what's going on. I think it's important to talk about that because it really is the battle. One of the battles in the cold Civil War. Even though we're celebrating 250 years, our Constitution is durable. This country is thriving in many ways, and we have the oldest constitutional republic in the world. It is nice. It is not nice, but important to point out that the cold Civil War is still going on. We do have these divisions and talk about what's coming next. So you are listening to the Yaffee Program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We have a lot to get to on the show. I will have those Alabama bullet points, the top stories from around the state, as we usually do. The bottom of the hour, we'll talk more Alabama news and politics with Todd Stacy, who is with Alabama Daily News and Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. And it is Monday, so that means I recap those Sunday news talk shows for you. Yeah, the Sunday news shows recap. I do it for you on Monday, so you can take Sunday off. I mean, I'm sure you all needed Sunday off after your 4th of July celebrations. The last thing you wanted to do Sunday morning was watch the Sunday news talk shows. So that's fine. You don't need to do it any week, honestly, because I'm just going to recap it for you like I usually do. Also, Walker is here. She's going to do What's Trending later on. She's producing today. Walker, how are you this morning? How was your Independence Day?
My Independence Day was good, though I was a bit disappointed with... I really wanted to watch a live stream of the fireworks show at Mid-City, and... Oh, they didn't have one? Well, WAFF 48 had made a Facebook post saying that you could view it in the 48 Plus app. And I was like, well, I can't find a 48 Plus app, and I checked all their other apps, and none of the live streams had it. So
That's a bummer.
Yes, I was very sad.
What a letdown.
But otherwise,
especially when they promoted it.
Yeah, otherwise I had a very good weekend.
Okay, good. Yeah, I could see why that would be a bummer. And I'm guessing you didn't want to go in person, probably too crowded. Yeah,
for sure. And with the storms, I wasn't sure if it would get delayed or not. So,
yeah, that's true. That is kind of a bummer. Would you just go outside and shoot off your own fireworks?
I did not have any of my own.
Oh no! So what'd you end up doing? Went to bed. That's what you did.
I just watched stuff on my TV.
Makes sense. All right, we'll end the show with the Yaffee Program Rewind, and you can tell me what you did on the 4th of July on our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. By the way, Walker, do you have the audio ready?
I do.
All right, so I'm just going to start with Trump. A little bit of a montage. He gave a speech at the America 250. It got delayed for a bit because there were some really bad storms there. Then President Trump posted on Truth Social that he's going to do it no matter what. He's like, if I have to do it at 2 a.m, I'm going to do this speech. And apparently the fireworks show, I had seen some of my Facebook friends were actually there. And apparently it was pretty amazing. It was a Guinness World Record of the most fireworks that were shot there. So that was pretty cool. But go ahead and play the Trump cut one for me, Walker.
The strongest and most powerful country on earth. And by the grace of God, the United States of America is the most successful, most accomplished, most exceptional nation ever to exist in human history, and it is great to be your president. We mark 250 years of glorious independence and 250 years of majestic American freedom. Nothing like it. Communism is the exact opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. Show us a mountain and we'll just climb it. Show us an ocean and we'll just cross it. Show us a problem and we will just solve it. Show us a task the world calls impossible and Americans will get it done. For a quarter of a millennium, liberty, justice, equality, self-government, and unmatched prosperity have flourished here as they have never flourished anywhere before. There is nothing like what we are doing.
Okay, so most of it was very positive, which is what you would want. Most of it, I mean, you could talk about wanting to solve problems for the future, but it's meant to be a celebration of how great this country is. And Trump goes up there and talks about how great this country is. Because it is great. By pretty much most metrics, it's great. So that brings me to Zohran Mamdani. And I'm sure a lot of you saw this. It was going viral. Now, I can't play the whole thing. It was like a 14-minute speech. But he does it. He's sitting at George Washington's desk. He has naturalized citizens behind him. And once you start to listen to it, like I said, we all love an underdog story, and there's some of that, where we love people who overcome obstacles. They come from nothing. They build something great. Oh, that's fine. That's American. But as you go through this, it's going to play about a minute and a half of it. You can see what I'm talking about, where he just can't get out of his own ideology. He can't get out of his own way. Everything comes through the lens of oppressor versus oppressed, rich versus poor. It's the Marxist worldview because that's who he is. It's just important to remind people when he says he is a socialist, believe him because he is. Go on and play the Zohran Mamdani cut for me.
We are told that America is exceptional because we are richer, stronger, more powerful than everyone else. The truth, my friends, is that America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed into place. The frontier may be closed. We may have walked on the moon, but the work of fulfilling the values first enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, that work endures, and it belongs to us all. It belongs to our newest Americans, those standing here with me today, all of whom were recently naturalized. Nearly a decade ago, I too felt what you feel, the joy of no longer being just a New Yorker, but an American too. You each hold a special power, the power to determine what America means. The powerful have always known their answer. America, in their view, is an arena of supremacy, where only a select few are allowed freedom, where not all are created equal. America, if you ask them, becomes less the more people it welcomes. America, they will tell you, belongs only to those with the right accent or the right shade of skin. The rest of us, they insist, should be grateful for merely being allowed to visit. How small they are, how weak, how unoriginal. At every moment in our past, those who led through exclusion and isolation have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another. Division is the oldest trick in politics and the cheapest. But time and again, including 250 years ago, those forces of division have been vanquished by the forces of progress.
So you see, it starts fine. He talks about becoming an American, talks about how they're proud to be an American, what New York's all about. And then all of a sudden you hear it shift again. All of a sudden it's about power dynamics, because that's how they look at everything. When you're talking about a Marxist, everything is about power dynamics. Well, the powerful don't see it that way. We're exceptional. Why are we exceptional? Because we have immigrants? I mean, that's part of it, sure. But this idea that we're exceptional because the poor have an ability to do something, that's fine too. But that doesn't mean he says nothing is fixed in place. Everything is about, well, this country's history is just about the powerful trying to trample on the weak, the rich trying to take advantage of the poor, the nativists trying to make sure immigrants can't come. Is it really? Because I would bet, if you're talking about the rich and powerful, I would bet a lot of people would think of Elon Musk, right? Richest person in the world. Elon Musk was an immigrant. He didn't start out that way. He became that way. When you're even talking about those robber barons, the so-called robber barons of the early 20th century and the late 19th century, most of them didn't start out rich. They started out poor and overcame obstacles and built something that other people could use and became rich. I'm not saying they were perfect. No one's perfect. But this idea that everything about this country is the powerful and the rich taking on the poor. And we just see so much of that today, and it's our main problem. No, what makes America exceptional is the power of the individual. That's what makes America exceptional. He's right. It's not just that we are powerful, so we're exceptional. No. We have a foundation of individual liberty, of faith, freedom, and family. And on that foundation, we have built a country that is exceptional, but it was that foundation that made us exceptional. And instead of talking about overcoming obstacles and doing better, everything he talks about in this speech, almost everything, not everything, but almost everything, he talks about it through some kind of weird Marxist power dynamic where it's rich versus poor. It's not really how it works. If someone is rich, Jeff Bezos, he's not rich because he took advantage of the poor. He didn't used to always be that rich. He started a business in his garage. So did Bill Gates. They started businesses in their garage. Steve Jobs did when he was alive. A lot of these people that are rich and powerful now didn't start out that way. And instead of looking at that and saying, you know, that really does show how great America is because you can become an Elon Musk if you want to, that's not how Mamdani points it out. Instead, he wants to tell you that the Elon Musks of the world are the enemy. And then when you point out how divisive his rhetoric is, he says, no, you're being divisive. If you disagree with me, you're divisive. He was incredibly divisive in the second part of that clip I played, and then talked about how it's everyone else's fault that there's division. Obama used to be great at that. He would say something incredibly divisive, and then you disagreed with him, and he said, you're just being divisive. I mean, it's absurd. But I just had to point that out, that you could talk about the greatness of America. You can talk about immigrants. It doesn't mean we let everyone in. There's always been a process, and there's a process to do it legally, and we praise people that do it the right way. But this idea that everything that defines this country is some kind of power dynamic based on a Marxist worldview of oppressed and oppressor, and now he's going to be there for the oppressed and take over those evil rich people. No, that's not what makes America great. That is not what America was built on, and he should know better. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We'll have the Alabama bullet points coming up next. Todd Stacy at the bottom of the hour as well. You're listening to the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. I am, yes, Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. Hope you all had a good Independence Day. You know, one thing I did not do, I did not watch the movie Independence Day. I usually try to do that, and I missed out. I'm very, very upset at myself. Maybe I'll do that this week. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Let's get to the Alabama headlines right now. We have those Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, Alabama four-year universities see a drop in foreign student enrollment in graduate programs, but an increase in undergraduate enrollment. So Alabama's four-year public universities experienced an overall decline in foreign student enrollment from fall of 2024 to fall of 2025, with a net drop of about 544 students. That's according to data from the Alabama Commission on Higher Education, while undergraduate foreign enrollment increased. Graduate programs numbers fell, contributing to the total decline. So top countries of origin remained India, Bangladesh, China, and Nigeria. Now, Auburn University and the University of Alabama at Birmingham continue to host the largest shares of foreign students coming in, though both of those schools saw reductions as well. The trend aligns with the national pattern, which highlighted economic impacts, including an estimated $8 million loss for Alabama. Number 3 today, Huntsville International Airport apparently has been allocated nearly $1 million through the FAA and grants for upgrades. So Huntsville International Airport will receive a little under $1 million in FAA grants for infrastructure upgrades. Now, the funding, part of a larger $1.776 billion FAA grant package announced by the U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and the FAA Administrator Brian Bedford, will support runway and safety improvements as well as family-friendly enhancements. Now, specific projects include constructing airport drainage and erosion control, building a new taxiway, and rehabilitating existing taxiways. Now, Alabama airports in total are slated to receive over $15 million. The grants aim to modernize travel infrastructure, enhance safety, and support a golden age of transportation under President Donald Trump's leadership. And of course, I'm sure Dale Strong was a part of that move. Number 2 today, State Representative Sam Gavan, or State Senator, Sam Gavan, rips the Choose Act lawsuit threat, says it's not going to go anywhere, and I think he's right. So he expressed strong skepticism about an announced lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of Alabama's Choose Act, which is the Education Savings Account school choice program. Now, he did this he was talking about it on Dale's show last week. Gavan doubted the effort, led by outgoing Huntsville City School Board member Andrea Alvarez. He said it's not going to gain traction, primarily due to funding challenges and a lack of unique constitutional barriers in Alabama that could invalidate the law. He suggested potential backers like George Soros could provide resources, but noted no suit has been filed as of yet. And he questioned the end goal of the legal fight, stating, quote, "You're not going to get anywhere." So Gavan believes the lawsuit is unlikely to succeed or alter the program at all. I tend to agree. Number 1 today, Governor Kay Ivey delivers her own America 250 address to Alabamians. Now, in what she described as her final such speech as governor, Ivey highlighted the nation's triumph since signing of the Declaration of Independence, praised Alabama's contributions, and urged citizens to protect God-given freedoms, honor those who serve, and teach children to love the country. Now, she expressed strong confidence in Alabama's and America's future, of course, declaring the state and nation the greatest on earth and encouraging patriotism ahead of the celebrations. So this happened right before the celebrations. I'll read a little bit of what she said in her speech. She said, "There is no better time to be an American than today, and there is no better time to be an Alabamian than right now." She said, "I am more optimistic than ever before for the future of Alabama and our country. Ever since our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence 250 years ago, our country has triumphed, overcome challenges, and continued striving to be a more perfect union." So that was her speech. Did a pretty good job there. I think she's right on that. We'll talk more about that with Todd Stacy in the next segment. And right now I'm going to talk more about Larry's Pistol and Pawn to you. Go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn today, located in Madison, off Greenbrier Exit 3 by the big Rusty Water Tower. It's amazing deals you're going to find there when it comes to newer used firearms or the best in jewelry in town for men and women. And Larry's Firearm Collection Museum is always cool to look at as well. Go to the website, see the latest deals. Their sales ad is up at pistolandpawn.com. When you go, let them know Yaffee sent you.
The Yaffee Program.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
We're back here on the Yaffee program, News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. I saw someone weigh in on the Yaffee text line here and said, what I've gathered from moron mom dummies, get it? Mom dummy. He said, mommy is rich. He's a typical spoiled trust fund brat. He exemplifies libtard hypocrisy every time he opens his mouth. So there you go. I played a cut of him earlier. If you missed that segment, the podcast is up. Wasn't all bad. Started off okay, and then it gets into the typical class warfare nonsense. So maybe some of that will come up during the Sunday News Show's recap a little bit later on. Right now, though, we got to talk with Todd Stacy. He is with Alabama Daily News and Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Todd, how are you this morning? How was your Independence Day?
I'm great, Yaffee. Yeah, I had a great 4th of July. We broadcast live from the American Village there in Montevallo. I'm sure a lot of your listeners have been to the American Village. It's a fantastic place. They have the replicas of Mount Vernon, Independence Hall, a lot of other, Monticello, a lot of other historical buildings. They just put on a fantastic show. It was actually a 2-day festival called Sweet Home 250, and we were honored to broadcast live, and it was a real treat. Now, I won't lie, a 3-hour live broadcast in 95-degree heat will get you tired. I'm still kind of tired, but it was a lot of fun. That's a huge fireworks show. They just did a fantastic job.
Okay, that's awesome. Was Governor Kay Ivey there at all or anything? I know she gave a speech that was pretty good.
Yeah, I think there was a video from her and a video from Senator Britt. But it was mainly, it wasn't a very political thing. It was, they do reenactments at American Village. So they have, Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin and George Washington, all the historical figures that are in character, right? I mean, they walk around all day. They're in character. Actually, I got to interview Thomas Jefferson, and that was really neat. And so they kind of put on a program, just, reenacting really a lot of the Declaration and a lot of the founding, and it was just really well done. So I could not imagine a better place to spend the 4th of July.
And I'm guessing some of this is on YouTube.
We're gonna. The problem with YouTube is it featured a lot of musical acts, including the Blind Boys of Alabama and others. True. And you get into copyright issues, but we're going to try to find a way to put it all online. I think on our website.
I'm just curious. What did you ask Thomas Jefferson?
Well, I asked him, because again, he's in character, so he is Thomas Jefferson, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a little tricky when you're interviewing somebody. But it's take me back to that fateful day or that fateful week, really, in Philadelphia. What was it like? And of course, he kind of rehashes some of that. I asked him, you wrote in the very last line of the Declaration about, we contribute our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We commit our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Like, what does that mean? Why did you write that? And his response was interesting. Talking about, we're risking our lives. We're putting everything on the line. And that's one of my favorite parts of our founding story is the fact that these men were absolutely risking everything. They were risking their own deaths, the deaths possibly of their families, and of course, everything that they had ever worked for. And that's worth remembering. They were taking a great risk, and that's part of what makes us uniquely American. We reward risk taking, and that was the ultimate example of risk taking.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. It sounds like an awesome event. How was the weather? You said it was just pretty much hot. I mean, did it rain? I know we had storms and heat and all kinds of stuff.
Nothing you can do. We had some fans, and I was grateful for a little bit of shade. Our broadcast didn't start until 6:30, so we missed the bulk of the heat. But I tell you, I think it's even hotter up north. I was hearing from friends in Washington that it was just a scorcher up there, and then in Philadelphia they had to cancel events because people kept passing out from heat stroke. So I think there's some kind of like heat dome going on up there. So I think we actually missed the worst of it.
Interesting. Todd Stacy is with Alabama Daily News. So I saw you in person recently. Both of us were at an event held by Katie Britt in Montgomery, Senator Katie Britt.
Yeah.
It was kind of celebrating America 250. She gave a little speech. And when I spoke to her, I have to say she is probably the best, one of the best I've ever seen when it comes to retail politics, like shaking hands and kissing babies. She is just the master at that. And I think she's trying to get energy back into the party before the midterms.
Well, yeah, she is. She's very good. And I mean, the party's going to need energy. Now, I mean, I think Alabama is probably going to be pretty typical, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her going to other states to do the same thing, because it's going to be in other states that will really decide these midterms. I mean, right now, I think if the election was held right now, there's no question in my mind that Republicans would lose the House. And then that could change between now and November. Obviously, redistricting netted Republicans anywhere from, 12 to 14 seats. But even with that, it's just, history is not on the Republican side, and certainly voter enthusiasm isn't either. And so something has to change between now and November if Republicans want to keep the House. And the Senate could be really close too. So it might be interesting to see Senator Britt go on the road, right? Go to other states and help some of her colleagues facing re-election. Try to take some of that energy you saw on display. I guess that was Friday. And take that on the road. It might be pretty useful for some of her colleagues. They could use that energy.
Yeah, well, and one thing she had talked about too, you had said we don't really have to worry about Alabama. I think you're mostly right, but they were kind of concerned, I guess, because there was a low turnout in some of these Republican races. Now, it's just kind of the nature of primaries and who was on the ballot and everything, but I think even Republicans in Alabama were a little concerned about that.
Well, they should be. And, that second district, the new second district, if you will, is certainly more friendly to Republicans than the one that the courts drew. Out of 10 elections, Republicans were going to win 9 of them, but that's the thing. It's not 100%. And Shamari Figures is a pretty good campaigner, right? And so if turnout is way low, if the enthusiasm for Republicans is way low, then he absolutely has a chance to hang on to that seat. Katie Britt is smart enough not to take anything for granted. You saw that when she ran her own race back in 2022, and that is a wise proposition, especially considering how dismal turnout was in the Republican primary in May, and especially in the runoff. 10%? That was pathetic.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I know we've talked about this before, but it's still always kind of crazy to me. People complain about the candidates in the general, and then you ask, well, did you vote in the primary? No. Oh, no. It's like, you can have some power who ends up in the general if you vote in the primary, and a lot of times they don't. I'm speaking with Todd Stacy, who is with Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Remind me again, is Shamari Figures going against Rhett Marks or Jerry Carl?
It would be Rhett Marks. Rhett Marks is probably the front runner but there's going to be a primary on August 11th, and so that it's the 2nd district. The 1st district is Jerry Carl, again, front runner, but not the nominee yet. But that's interesting though, because obviously Shamar Figures is the current congressman for the 2nd district, but that district is now changed,
Right.
and so it no longer includes Mobile. That was, and he's from Mobile, so that's they took out his home really, and so it was interesting to see, like, okay, is he going to now change and try to run in the 1st district? Would he have a better shot there? But he decided he's going to keep with the 2nd district. And I mean, statistically, just voter wise, that is the better bet. That's the more winnable seat for a Democrat. But it's still an uphill battle. I would put it at R plus 10 ish, maybe not that high, but certainly not the R plus 15 that the old 2nd district used to be.
So before I let you go, one final question for you. Governor Kay Ivey said, now is the best time to be an American and to be an Alabamian. Would you agree with her on that?
Well, it's always good to be. I don't know about the best or worst. I mean, it's always good. I wrote a column for the 4th of July talking about embracing patriotism in troubled times, because these times are troubled no matter how you look at things. I mean, we're all we're going through a lot as a country, and that's okay. I look at the founding. Too often we let the perfect be the enemy of the good, or we don't embrace things unless they're 100% pure or perfect, or we don't like the country unless our team is in charge. And I reject that. I think America is special. I think part of what makes us special is that those ideals that were stated in the founding, equality, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, those ideals that were put on paper in the founding have gotten us through so many challenges over the 250 years of our country. And it's because we've adhered to those principles and have leaned into those founding principles that we've gotten through them, not by abandoning them. And so we will get through the challenges of today and the challenges of tomorrow by doing the same thing, by leaning into those principles and not abandoning them. So yes, it is a great day to be an Alabamian, and it's a great day to be an American.
Todd Stacy, he is with Alabama Daily News. You can read that every day in that column he was just talking about at aldailynews.com. Also the host of Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Todd, always appreciate it. I know we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Yaffee, be good.
There you go. If you want to react to any of that, you can. We have our Yaffee text line as usual, 866-494-9866. 866-494-WVNN. We were just talking about, the anniversary of America, of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Got to tell you about another anniversary, though, the Huntsville Men's Clinic. That's right. They are celebrating their 5-year anniversary, and this is part of a team that's treated Alabama men for things like low testosterone for almost 15 years. They're powered by Men's Pro, and something has definitely changed this past year because they have new options. They have taken care to another level. So I want you to go see what's new. Make an appointment today with my good friends at the Huntsville Men's Clinic. Now, it's only $99 for testosterone and PSA test, and you get your numbers in about an hour. That means you find out what you need before you leave that first appointment. And then you make other appointments because they want to keep up with you, because this is, it's real medical care based on real science, real solutions that work for 92% of men who have tried it. So go to the website, huntsvillemensclinic.com, or make an appointment by giving them a call, 256-368-0333, huntsvillemensclinic.com. Tell them Yaffee was the one who sent you. So we'll start the Sunday News Show's recap next, right here on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
We're here on the Yaffee program once again, News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. As always, glad you've joined the show. And as always, if you miss any of it live, well, the podcast is up. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts, or you can listen online at WVNN.com. the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn Radio app, or your Google, Amazon, Apple smart devices. All right, let's get to it. It is Monday, so we have that Sunday News Shows recap. Yes, recapping what was talked about, the highlights of the interviews from those Sunday news talk shows. So you don't have to worry about it. I'm talking ABC This Week, Fox News Sunday, CBS Face the Nation, and others. I give you Sunday off and recap it for you on Monday. And, after the 4th of July holiday, I'm sure you needed a morning off. That's okay. That's what I'm here for. And, it's kind of interesting because what do you think was one of the important issues that they talked about? Oh, was it Iran? Not really. Was it the economy? Maybe some. They talked about that a little bit. No, what was the big thing that they had to talk about in all the Sunday news talk shows? The reflecting pool, of course. Yes, we have to point out the issues with the reflecting pool again, and maybe how it's a big disaster, and how has Trump ruined everything with this. Now, when you actually look at the history of this, apparently it's been an issue for a while. Trump was just trying to fix it because he wanted a good celebration. What an evil president. How could he? Ruined everything. So it just kind of amazes me how it's like people wanted the redo to fail. I mean, it's like they're taking joy out of the issues with the redo. Now, I get it. We live in our partisan times, and that's what we do for everything. But, I mean, come on. We all know if this were happening when Biden was president, it'd probably be like just a quick news story. No one would be talking about it. How do I know that? Because it happened when Obama was president. And it was a quick news story and no one talked about it at the time. Anyway, go ahead, Walker, if you can. Doug Burgum is the Interior Secretary for the Trump administration. He was on ABC This Week talking about it. Play Doug Burgum cut 1 for me.
He promised it would be fixed for under $2 million. It's already cost more than $15 million with a no-bid contract. And the pool is going to be drained, at least in part. And you've also you're putting out solicitations for new bids. So the pool is not fixed right now, is it?
Well, it's fixed in the sense it's no longer leaking 45,000 gallons a day. And we've got, less than 0.1% of that industrial liner that's been damaged. And that's the only thing that remains to go back and fix the damage done by the vandals. And then we're going to be back in business again. And of course, this was done for a fraction of the cost. The bid that was done in 2010 to 2012 was, a $34 million contract. And so it's, fraction of the cost in a fraction of the time.
By the way, that's something that's not talked about a lot. Now, Trump, of course, oversold it because that's what he always does. It's going to cost more than originally thought. But compared to what they had to do in the past, it's actually not. But, we still have to freak out. How about the reflecting pool? All right, I'm telling you, he was on multiple Sunday news talk shows talking about it. By the way, I kid you not, this obsession with this thing. Going to play cut 2 of Doug Burgum.
You've repeated that vandals caused the damage. The president has repeatedly claimed that vandals cut a 350-foot gash in the pool. That's a claim that's echoed an illegal filing by your department. What specific evidence do you have to back up that claim?
Well, we have the actual cuts that were made into the industrial liner, and that's been measured out. So that's just a fact that's what we've got to go back and repair.
There's a 350-foot gash?
Well, it's multiple gashes that add up to 350 feet across that. And again, some of this happened early on. There was where we've installed more cameras. I mean, we weren't expecting that we were going to have a small group of people that wanted to try to destroy effectively what is part of the Lincoln Memorial. There's plenty of cameras around the Lincoln statue and around the memorial. The reflecting pool had gone for, decades without vandalism. But now we've got cameras up and we've got more eyes on it, and we'll we have to. That's part of the job of the National Park Service and the U.S. Park Police is to protect our monuments, and so we're in better shape now. If anyone were to do something now, we would have better video evidence of that.
But
happening.
you don't have video evidence of people making those gashes.
Well, we do have video and we do have eyewitness reports, and that's up to the courts now. So that process will go forward in the legal system.
So we'll have to see what happens. No matter what even happens in the legal system, there will be conspiracy theories because this is what we do now. Even about the reflecting pool redo, we'll have conspiracy theories. So this is where we are. Enough of that topic. I'm done with that topic. There you go. Just had to do it because they really did talk about it for a while on the Sunday news talk shows. But we're going to move on to more important things as well, including, the history of our country, where we are as a country, and the debate between the left and right. Not only the future of the country, but the future of the political parties that all came up during those Sunday news talk shows. So we'll get to that and more coming up next here on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN. The Yaffee program on WVNN.
So I have a question for everyone. If you want to weigh in on our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Simple question, but I'm really curious what you think. Governor Kay Ivey said, and she gave a speech for America's 250th anniversary, she said, there is no better time to be an American than today. And there is no better time to be an Alabamian than right now. So my question for you, if you're listening, and you can weigh in on the text line, and I'll read your text. Do you agree with her? Is there no time better than now to be an American? And is there no time better than now to be an Alabamian? I'm really curious, and tell me why, or why not. I'm actually very curious about the why not. I tend to think she's correct, but it'd be kind of interesting to see maybe a different perspective. So tell me on the Yaffee text line. We have it 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and yes, the best analysis all for your morning commute here on Newstalk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. It's also Monday in the 10 o'clock hour, so let's do it once again here. We have the Sunday news shows recap. Yes, recapping what happened on those Sunday news talk shows, the highlights, the interviews, because, you want to take the day off. It's my public service to you. You take Sunday off. I do it for you on Monday. If you're a news junkie, you want to keep up, but you got to go to church or sleep in. Let's be honest. Some of you are probably hungover. I get it. I'll recap it for you now. Don't you worry. My public service to you. And yes, we don't accept any taxpayer funds to do it here like some radio stations wanted. You're welcome. All right. So I want to play these cuts. This is from Fox News Sunday. Historian, he's with the Hoover Institute, Victor Davis Hanson, was on Fox News Sunday, kind of reflecting on America's 250th anniversary, and asked about the state of the country. Kind of what I was asking you. Governor Kay Ivey said there is no better time than now to be an American and no better time than now to be an Alabamian. And I want to know what you think, but I'll play a little bit of what this historian thinks. Play a Victor Hanson. Cut one for me, Walker.
I wanted to pick your brain a bit as a historian as we mark 250 years. How do you think we're doing as a country?
I think we're doing pretty well. Our Constitution has been under a stress test lately, but it's durable. It's the oldest constitutional republic in the world right now. And as a historian, I always look at the historical barometers of a healthy society, and they're pretty fundamental. Fuel, we're the biggest producer of oil and gas in the history of civilization. Food, we're the largest food producer, contrast to China that imports 30% of its food, 11 million barrels of oil a day. Our military recruitment's up. We're starting to stress quantity and different types of procurement and weaponry. It's at its zenith. I think it's very good. Our fertility rate, Shannon, has gone back up to about 1.71. It's not where it should at the millennium. That's a good barometer.
So I forgot. I was going to edit that part out. So during the interview, they were playing like a fighter jet taken off from an aircraft carrier. That's what that sound was, if anyone was wondering why there was like random like static. It was actually like a fighter. It made sense in the video, but in audio it probably didn't make sense. But you heard him there. He said he's looking at different barometers, whether it comes to energy production, the economy, overall, America's in a good place. Now, I've said for a while, if we're going to look at problems, he's going to talk about some problems. But if we're going to talk about economic problems, I've already said, it really is the cost of housing, the cost of health care, the cost of education and childcare. Those things really affecting, especially my generation. So if we're going to talk economic issues, but still, compared to the history of civilization, we're doing pretty well. So go ahead and play a Victor Hansen cut 2 for me.
I think most of our worries are about unity. I think there's a little recrudescence of tribalism where people are identifying by their ethnic, racial, religious, sexual orientation, identity as essential rather than incidental to being an American. And we have the most immigrants we've ever had that were non-native born, 53 million, 16% of the population. We know the melting pot works, it has in the past, but with this new types of large numbers, percentage in actual numbers, we need to get back to the melting pot and kind of drop this salad bowl flirtation. So I'm kind of worried about that. Yeah. But otherwise, I think we're in good shape.
Okay, well, there you go. He says, and I think he's right, that if we're going to talk about issues in this country right now, really is the division over, say, identity politics, this tribalism that exists. And I talked about it a little bit earlier with Mamdani. His is more of like a Marxist economic tribalism, but we've had this obsession with identity politics as well, where we want to separate based on our group identity instead of focusing on the power of the individual, which the American ideal is a lot about the power of the individual. Go ahead and play a Victor Hansen cut 3 for me.
Okay, we've got some negatives here, and for some in our polling, those outweigh the positive.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, and I'll be blunt with you, I think a lot of it is the 40 to 45% who are college educated. I spent 50 years of my life in the university, but I must tell you that it's no longer empirical and inductive reasoning anymore. It's more indoctrination, especially in the social science and humanities. So what basically, and these are the people who train our K through 12 young people. So from K through 12 to the BA for about almost half the country, they're getting drummed into them that we're a racist, sexist country that was bad at the beginning, that got worse during our maturity, and is awful now. And so we've really got to address that and reintroduce civic education and basic history. We don't teach history. History is now melodrama about the sins of the past rather than tragedy, where certain things happen in the world and we try to overcome them. But
yeah, and he's going to expand on that a little bit more. He's exactly right, though. If you look at some of these polls and why people are not proud of their country, they're not as patriotic, a lot of it goes back to the march through the institutions. You had radical leftists starting in the 60s, really started in our major universities, but over time, over decades, they were basically able to control a lot of the culture through the universities, through secondary education. Then eventually they got into Hollywood, then sports, then the business culture. And that's why you have this cold civil war going on right now, the cultural wars or whatever you want to call it, because that's what's happened. And he's worked as a professor his whole life. He's seen it firsthand. He's seen this kind of change over time. And if we want to reverse it, bring back patriotism, it starts with education. It really does. Go and play cut 4 of Victor Davis Hansen.
And then the final thing is it's always absolute, especially with the left. They never say compared to what. It's very strange to have 50 million people and half of them come in here from, I'll be frank, failed states, and yet they're very critical of the state or the nation or culture that either they or their parents chose to embrace and come here, and yet they're so critical, and yet we never say to them, well, why did you come? I think people have to be more explicit in their love of the country and to appreciate how different it is and how exceptional it is compared to the alternatives. And we don't ask that of anybody anymore. But we need to cross-examine a lot of people who just have this boilerplate negativity.
So that really hits to the heart of the matter. It's not just looking at the country, but looking at the country compared to the alternative. Todd Stacey actually kind of mentioned this in the last hour when we were talking to him. He has a column on this. He says, sometimes we let the perfect be the enemy of the good, meaning we can look at some of the problems. We're not a perfect society. We're not utopia. We're full of human beings. It's pretty much impossible to have a utopia until Jesus comes back. But we have these problems and we want to solve problems. But there's sort of this tendency to forget that compared to the alternative, we still have it pretty well. We're still pretty spoiled. There's a reason why millions of illegal immigrants try to get into this country to begin with. That compared to, and it really comes down, this is why education is so important. Because through education, you can teach real history and real civics and what's going on in the rest of the world. And it brings perspective. That's really what's needed. Actual perspective. That when you have perspective and you realize how good you have it, you can be grateful for it while also trying to solve problems. But when you have sort of this obsession with identity politics, this obsession with class warfare, it's almost impossible to have that real perspective, unfortunately. It's just kind of the way it is. But I go back to the question, and I'm curious what you think about it, so you can weigh in. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Tell me, Governor Kay Ivey said there is no better time to be an American than today and to be an Alabamian than today. Would you agree with that? Tell me on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. Right now, I'm going to tell you about the great sponsor today, VIP Care. You know, they're a senior-focused primary care designed specifically for adults 65 and older. So maybe that includes you listening, or maybe you have a family member, maybe your parents, your grandparents who are in that category, but they want better primary care. Well, they can get it at VIP Care. You'll spend more time with your provider with longer appointments focused on prevention, education, and personalized care. It's all tailored to your unique health needs. And as I mentioned, they have same-day appointments, 24/7 access to an on-call provider. This all gives you that added peace of mind. And trust me, I know we all deal with the healthcare system these days. We could use some peace of mind in the healthcare system because I've complained about it a lot for sure myself. And also, instead of running all over town, you can take care of many of your healthcare needs in one place. It includes routine checkups, lab work, preventative screenings, and medication support. And they have locations around here in Huntsville, but also Decatur, Birmingham, across the state. Discover the VIP Care difference today. Go to the website, getvipcare.com to find out more. Get to vipcare.com to take care of you or your family member. You can learn more, schedule your appointment right there at the website, getvipcare.com. And when you do, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. We'll be back in a moment here on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
Good to be back with you today on the Yaffee program. I'm Alabama's Truth Star. This is Huntsville's Disinformation Board. If you miss any of the show live, quick reminder, the podcast will be up. Of course, you can follow me throughout the day, like the Yaffee Facebook page, or follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. And it's Monday, so let's do it, the third and final segment now of the Sunday News Shows Recap. Recapping those Sunday news talk shows. So you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, take Sunday off. I'll give you the day off. Go ahead. You just rest. I'll recap it for you the next day. It's my public service to you. All right, so obviously one of the major topics, America's 250th celebration, the Declaration of Independence, and CNN State of the Union, Dana Bash, she decided to interview Governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. Obviously, they went to Philadelphia, where you had the signing of the Declaration, you have the Liberty Bell, everything else, and they kind of talked about some of this. Now, I will say this. I don't agree with a lot of what he's saying, but I do believe that if Democrats were smart, if they could get out of their own way when it comes to the obsession of identity politics, they would pick a Josh Shapiro because he would be a great presidential candidate for them. I mean, really, he could win a general election, but he's also very pro-Israel and Jewish. I mean, sorry, in today's world where the radical left wing is taking over the party, the Democratic Socialists, I don't know if he can win a primary. But he should. I mean, if they could get past some of that, he would be a very good contender for president. Now, go ahead, if you can, play a Josh Shapiro cut one for me.
Things are hard now.
Yeah.
But not nearly as hard as creating an entire Democratic government from whole cloth.
Right.
Which is what happened here.
Yeah, and things are hard now, I think, because of the excesses and the corruption and the chaos of the executive. Something that our founders in this room debated, deliberated over. They were worried about creating a government where a king could form again, where one individual would amass so much power that you'd have tyranny all over again. I fear that we are finding our way back to that. I think, unfortunately, you have some profoundly and pathetically weak individuals in Congress who could learn a few lessons from the strong foundation that the founders set for us here in this room.
All right, so a couple of things we have to address. First, obviously, he's thinking of President Trump. I would remind people that if you're going to talk about executive power, this has been going on way before Trump. It really starts, I mean, go all the way back to Teddy Roosevelt, but it was really FDR that really started grabbing a lot of executive power. But Obama, I mean, this has been going on for a while. But I do want to point out that, yes, the founders were worried about like a new king, executive power. But actually, I'm not sure that was one of their biggest concerns. Well, I'm not sure it was their biggest. They all kind of understood that George Washington was going to be the first president, and they wanted to model it based after him. But they were also concerned about a mobocracy. I mean, that is something that people don't want to talk about. What they wanted was balance. We talk about checks and balances. They did want Congress really to be the more powerful branch, but they also wanted a Senate that was elected by the legislatures for state interest to balance the power of pure direct democracy. We got rid of that, of course. But they also wanted a presidency to have executive power, so you could have one person in charge, say commander-in-chief of the military. But they also wanted an electoral college, and because they wanted to give some power to states. But they were also worried about this idea. They also wanted a Bill of Rights. And then one of the issues at the Constitutional Convention, where a lot of the anti-federalists, the thing they're upset about is they understood that you still needed an extra protection for the individual, for the power of the individual, for minority rights. Because they didn't want a system where it was all ruled by 51% either, where the 51% can tell the other 49% what to do constantly. That was something else they were worried about. So this idea that most of our problems, look, basically my main point I'm getting at here is most of our problems in our government are not caused by a powerful executive. Some of them are. But most of our problems are caused by a too powerful federal government. The fact of the matter is, the way this country was put forward was they wanted a limited government. Yes, we needed a strong federal government in certain areas. But what the founders were really concerned about was taking the rights away from the states and taking the rights away from the individual. That's what they were concerned about. And that's where a lot of the problem is. So we could talk about the weakness of Congress. We could talk about the weakness of state power. But when you get to the core of the issue here, at least the problems in our government, what they really feared was all centralized power in Washington, D.C. And unfortunately, especially in my lifetime, we have seen more and more centralized power and control over the economy of our lives in Washington, D.C. Beyond just the executive, it's been in other areas as well. Go ahead and play Josh Shapiro cut 2 for me.
A recent CNN poll, again, shows just 28% of Americans hold a favorable view of your party. Does that surprise you?
I think what needs to happen is Democrats need to deliver the way we do here in Pennsylvania. deliver on things that make people's lives better. And I think what we've got to focus on, not just as a party, but in politics in general, are real deliverables for people, on getting stuff done for people and shying away from this performative politics that just makes noise but doesn't make anybody's life better.
And
by the way, I would agree with that pretty much 100%. Now, once again, he's a Democrat, so he's probably talking about Trump. But honestly, one of the reasons Trump won is they kind of saw him as someone who just didn't care and would get things done. But there is no doubt that one of the major problems when it comes to our government today is we have politicians who care more about getting likes on social media, who care more about one day becoming a pundit or a lobbyist or getting attention for themselves, raising money, than actually passing bills, actually getting things done. This is why I do think Americans are a little exhausted of the performative politics that we have had for the past couple decades that has grown in the area of social media. And that's why I think if Democrats could get out of their own way and actually elect a Josh Shapiro as their nominee, they would have a good chance of winning. I really believe. I mean, this guy would be a very good candidate for them. I just don't know if they can do it. I don't know if they can get past some of the radical base in their party to elect someone like a Josh Shapiro. I mean, if they were smart, they would. I'm just going to be honest with you. He's very good. He's very good, but I don't think they can do it. All right, we're going to move on to what's trending. Of course, coming up in a couple minutes. I always end the show with the Yaffee program rewind as well. Recap everything we talked about. And you can weigh in on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. The question of today, I want you to answer, is it better to be an American today than ever? And is it better to be an Alabamian today than ever? So you can answer on the text line. I'll read some of those a little bit later on. You're listening to the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. I am Alabama's voice of reason, but you already knew that. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you've joined the show today. Don't forget to like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee. Walker is here producing, so let's get right to it. We have What's Trending with Walker.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market. Really is the best furniture store in the universe. They always have the furniture that's trending. So if you need maybe a new dining room table. Maybe you realize that over the 4th of July you had family over and the one you had just, not that great. You want an upgrade? Well, Coleman Furniture Market is the place to go. Now, they're located in the heart of Coleman, Alabama. They have a huge selection of that and much, much more in the top brands. And they can deliver to anywhere in the state of Alabama. So when you have some kind of holiday feast, you want to make sure you got the right table, the right chairs, the right furniture for your family, for your friends, for your loved ones. So go to Coleman Furniture Market today. You can find out more on their website, ColemanFurnitureMarket.com, and see some of the stuff on their Facebook page and their Instagram page. And did I mention they can deliver to anywhere in the state of Alabama? Go today. When you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, Walker, what is number 5 today?
Number 5 today, Pringles is debuting a limited edition of hot dog buns in 3 of their...
That's not what I expected you to say.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they even made hot dog buns. All right.
Yeah, it's limited edition can-sized hot dog buns. They'll be sold on July 8th and July 15th on their website, which is onceyoupopmarket.com.
Okay, so it's not going to be like you get a can at the store and then a hot dog bun.
No.
Comes out. Okay. I was wondering. I don't know. The picture kind of looks like it.
But they included with a $6.97 3-pack.
A $6.97 3-pack? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of different Pringles flavors, but the buns.
Oh, sour cream and onion hot dog bun. All right, that's I don't know if that sounds good or not.
Yes.
Okay.
There's the sour cream and onion, and then there's barbecue and honey mustard.
Okay, I mean, the barbecue and the honey mustard, I guess, kind of makes sense. The sour cream and onion, I'm not sure. No jalapeno?
Yeah, I'm surprised with that because I feel like jalapeno is a very popular flavor after cheese when it comes to hot dog stuff.
Yeah, and chips. Potato chips. So, like, yeah, if you're going to go with the chip theme, go with that. Okay. All right. So that is something I did not see coming at all. That was not on my bingo card for this year.
Yeah,
Pringles hot dog buns.
I'm a little disappointed that it's not like a pack of hot dog buns, that it's just like one in a can.
Well, you can't fit 6 in there. How do you fit 6 hot dog buns in a can? That doesn't work. Or I guess 8. You get 8, right?
Yes.
Hot dogs? Yeah. All right. What's number 4?
Number 4, in China, Lenovo has released a AI student phone where it does not include any games, web browsers, or social media to minimize distractions.
You piqued my interest. Let's go ahead.
And they can use a AI voice assistant to get assistance with their homework or ask any questions. And there's also an SOS button for emergencies that they can use as well. And
Okay, so yeah, it looks like they can't really even call a lot of people.
Right. So it's really just for emergencies, help with homework, I guess, keeping up with the time, probably.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good idea as long as it can't be hacked, because kids are smart. They figure these things out. But yeah, they're trying to find out alternatives because people realize, social media really not good for kids in a lot of ways.
Right.
And one thing I've heard is giving your kid a smart watch. So if you give them a smart watch that can take calls, they could use it for that and text, but they can't get on social media on them. So it's kind of similar to that, just an actual phone, kind of a bigger thing.
And they're only, of course, since this is in China, it's 299 won, or about $44.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
There we go.
It also features a GPS tracking, so parents can easily locate their children and actually know when they leave established safe zones.
Yeah, and I guess you would need that too if you have an SOS button.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes sense. Oh, interesting. Okay, so don't know if I would want to give my daughter one. She's too young now. But in the future, we'll have to see what's available in a few years. As long as it's not a smartphone, she can't have that till she's 30.
Till she's 30.
Oh, did I say? All right, what's number 3?
Number 3, a 1-ton seal has been going viral after destroying construction signs and billiards on the side of the road in Tasmania.
Is this a wild? So this is a wild one?
Yes. This is his 12th time coming ashore during the mating season.
Jeez. Yeah, because you sent me the picture.
Yes.
I thought it was a walrus. It's gigantic.
It is a seal.
Holy cow. I was like, is this at an exhibit or something? No, it's a wild seal. That's fat.
He has a following of 1.4 million on TikTok.
I could see why. I could definitely see why.
And of course, this is a concern because his fame means that all this attention means that people want to get close to him.
Yeah.
And they recommend that people stay at least 20 meters away.
Because he's a giant seal that could crush them to death or something. What is this thing?
Yeah, because for mating season, typically males will bash their chests into one another to compete.
Okay.
So that's what he's doing to all this road signage.
Man, he is destroying it too. He is a holy cow.
Yes. Some people are even like trying to take pictures with their baby with him. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Dear Lord, people. It's not a cute puppy dog. It is a giant seal. That's a wild animal that wants to mate, too. So you're just putting all those things together. And I'd be scared.
Yeah, me too.
Just so you know, I honestly thought it was a walrus. I didn't. You sent me the picture. I just looked down like, oh, it's a big walrus. And you're like, no, it's a giant seal. And I was like, oh.
People are comparing it to a walrus known as Freya that was doing similar things in Norway. And
Man,
she was actually euthanized after they found her to be a risk to human safety.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That's really serious. Holy cow. All right. On that note, what's next? What's number 2?
Number 2, Minions vs. Monsters has done better than Toy Story 5 in the box office.
This is surprising.
Yeah, in its first 5 days, it made $61.4 million.
I mean, I get sometimes these kids' movies do really well just because, gives you something to do with your kids. I guess go to this movie. But I would have thought Toy Story 5 would have been one of those too.
Yeah, I also would have thought so. Although Toy Story 5 did do better than Supergirl, at least.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it did well from what I understand. But you're just saying Minions did better.
Yes. And even though it was the holiday weekend, it still made $36.4 million.
I mean, that might have helped it. Plus, it's hot, so people didn't want to do things outside.
Yeah, that's true.
So it might have. And I guess Minions is one of those things, too. You could actually take some of your really young kids. I mean, I guess you could for Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, really young maybe would prefer. I don't know. I'll find out in a couple of years, I'm sure. I'll have to take my kids to something like this. It'll be interesting. All right, what's number 1?
Number 1, people are obsessing over Taylor Swift getting married this weekend. And they're like, where are the wedding photos? Where are the wedding photos? But they had all of their guests, when they were invited, sign an NDA, and there were no phones allowed.
Oh, because they want official photos.
Yes, they said
come out first.
There was filming on site, and people were wondering if there's going to be like a documentary of the wedding.
I'm sure.
And there's also theories that they're going to do like a magazine release, as other celebrities have.
See, it's interesting you bring that up because I think when my wife was like, oh, Taylor Swift got married, I'm like, that happened? I guess I was kind of expecting it to be live streamed or something. And it wasn't. It was a big event, but it's kind of what you said. You didn't see any of it because they didn't release anything.
Right. They did rent out the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
So it was a very big wedding.
I thought, for some reason, when all this started, I was assuming it would be like broadcast live or something, like the royal wedding or something, some kind of big thing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people who wanted that.
Yeah, and when it actually happened and they didn't do it that way, I was almost a little surprised. I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I thought they would have done that. So I have no idea how much tickets were. I'd have to look that up.
I don't know if there were tickets. It was very private.
How can you call some of Madison Square Garden private? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't sound right. But okay, I guess we'll find out more. But I was a little surprised too. I thought this would have been some kind of big live stream thing that was nationally televised. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, they didn't.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that there were no like snuck photos. Because, I mean, the paparazzi are
photos.
relentless.
Yeah, they must have been really doing a good job at that, making sure people didn't have that. Interesting. By the way, another thing that's trending I have not mentioned during the show, but I guess I will. Trump, everyone making a big deal that Trump called the head of FIFA over a call. I just love, man, Trump inserts himself into everything. He's like, the World Cup, I'm going to get involved.
Well, I mean, with America being one of the hosts, you would, I mean,
I'm not mad about it. I just think it's fun. I don't know. I just think it's fun. It's funny how like upset people are too, because I'm like,
upset?
That's kind of cool.
For calling?
Yeah. Like he's like, I don't know, like interrupting some kind of sacred thing by getting involved in the sport.
Okay.
I know. So you and I are not soccer fans, so we're like, what? What are you talking? But yeah, people are mad. They like can't believe Trump like got involved and changed things. And I'm like, I mean, he wanted his country to do well. Apparently it was a really bad call too.
Oh, I
wouldn't
expect that.
Call. Yeah, apparently, apparently the red card that the guy got where the American player was not allowed to play in the game, the final was like a terrible call. So like that was another reason why Trump's like, no, they need to review this. But
okay.
I don't know. It's just it's really funny. So we went from reflecting pool to soccer. So there we go. All right, on the show with the Yaffee program rewind here in just a moment on WVNN.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. We are here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Don't forget that the Vince Show comes up next. You got Christopher Reed later on, Mark Levin later on as well. Right now, let's end the show like we usually do. We have the Yaffee program rewind. Yes, that time of the show where I remind you if you missed any of it live, well, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. So we started the show today reflecting on America's 250th birthday and kind of compared what Trump said in his speech that he gave at the National Mall, which got delayed because of weather and everything else, to what Zoran Mamdani said, who, I mean, I admit he's a good speaker. It wasn't all bad, but Mamdani just cannot get out of his Marxist mindset when it comes to America, when it comes to the economy. He just can't. It's his ideology. Go on and play, we'll start with what Trump said, though. Go on and play Trump Got One.
We are the strongest and most powerful country on earth. And by the grace of God, the United States of America is the most successful, most accomplished, most exceptional nation ever to exist in human history. And it is great to be your president. We mark 250 years of glorious independence and 250 years of majestic American freedom. Nothing like it. Communism is the exact opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. Show us a mountain and we'll just climb it. Show us an ocean and we'll just cross it. Show us a problem and we will just solve it. Show us a task the world calls impossible and Americans will get it done. For a quarter of a millennium, liberty, justice, equality, self-government, and unmatched prosperity have flourished here as they have never flourished anywhere before. There is nothing like what we are doing.
All right. So it's very positive. Kind of what you want. Don't know what you would have expected. But then let's go to Mamdani and what he says about America's birthday in New York. Play the Mamdani cut.
We are told that America is exceptional because we are richer, stronger, more powerful than everyone else. The truth, my friends, is that America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed into place. The frontier may be closed, we may have walked on the moon, but the work of fulfilling the values first enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, that work endures, and it belongs to us all. It belongs to our newest Americans, those standing here with me today, all of whom were recently naturalized. Nearly a decade ago, I too felt what you feel, the joy of no longer being just a New Yorker, but an American too. You each hold a special power, the power to determine what America means. The powerful have always known their answer. America, in their view, is an arena of supremacy, where only a select few are allowed freedom, where not all are created equal. America, if you ask them, becomes less the more people it welcomes. America, they will tell you, belongs only to those with the right accent or the right shade of skin. The rest of us, they insist, should be grateful for merely being allowed to visit. How small they are, how weak, how unoriginal. At every moment in our past, those who led through exclusion and isolation have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another. Division is the oldest trick in politics and the cheapest. But time and again, including 250 years ago, those forces of division have been vanquished by the forces of progress.
I just love, Obama was so good at this too. He would say something that in and of itself is pretty divisive and then talk about how he's uniting. And that if you disagree with them, you're the one who's divisive. But what you can see, it started off fine. You can talk about the story of immigrants. You can talk about overcoming obstacles. You can talk about we're exceptional because, as he said, nothing is fixed in place, which means the real lesson is the lane of opportunity. But he can't escape his Marxist worldview. He goes right back to power dynamics. Everything is about the powerful taking on the powerful, the elites, rich taking on the poor. And it's like, no. What's great about America is you can start off poor and become rich. Or you can start off small and become powerful in government or whatever. That's the beauty. But he just can't get out of his own way. So we talked about that at the beginning of the show. We also had the Alabama bullet points. We spoke with Todd Stacy. We did the Sunday News Show's recap. And, of course, we had your text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. So if you missed any of the show live or the podcast, yes, we'll be up on the website, WVNN.com. Or follow me on social media. You can see a lot of it there as well. I got to tell you about the sponsor of the Yaffee program, Rewind, is Jay's Appliance Outlet. They're located over there in Athens. Maybe you were cooking, for the 4th. You were trying to cook maybe you had a roast in the oven or something. I don't know. And your oven wasn't working too well. Kind of disappointed the family or something. You really need a new one. Or maybe you need a new refrigerator. Wasn't keeping things cold, things spoiled. Well, if that's you, the place to go is Jay's Appliance Outlet in Athens. You want to dial pound 250, say the keywords Jay's Appliance Outlet, or go to the website jaysapplianceoutlet.com. Up to 60% off new appliances. They have scratch and dent deals and new inventory coming in all the time. They're great. Family owned and operated. Jay's Appliance Outlet in Athens off 72. Go today. And when you do, let them know Yaffee sent you. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
The Yaffee program.